the remaining sums of the May 19 RTP. ठीक है. Now good news for you guys. First of all, there were 6 questions remaining. There are still 6 questions remaining. But out of these 6 questions, 2 questions are repeat questions, so we will not cover them, which means we have to only solve 4 questions, and this means all the 4 questions can be directly finished off in this session itself, which means we will be done with the May 19 RTP as well. So these 2 repeat questions have already been covered in the previous MTPs. Either it is May 18 or November 18. I don't remember which question is in which year ka attempt, but they are definitely repeat questions. We'll figure out while reading as well. बॉटम लाइन अपने को 4 क्वेश्चन करना बाकी है, 6 में से 2 रिपीट क्वेश्चन है, विच मींस अपने रिमेनिंग 4 क्वेश्चंस विल बी डन इन दिस सेशन इटसेल्फ. ठीक है. सो विदाउट वेस्टिंग मच टाइम एज यूजुअल वी विल प्रोसीड टू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, दैट इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 8. एंड क्वेश्चन नंबर 8 एज वी कैन सी इज ऑन द चैप्टर ऑफ प्रोसेस कॉस्टिंग. Now again, process costing has been covered in the previous 2 MTBs, so I won't give you a detailed intro of what process costing is. I'll simply tell you guys some small intro of what is there in this question. Now, how is this question different from the previous question? In this question, we have the weighted average method of the statement of equi output. That is the only different or new part in this question. Other things are quite similar. All right. So we are doing process costing because we need to find the inter-process profit, या फिर we want to value my WIP. ये अपना 2 main objectives है of doing my process costing. In the process, we'll need to value my WIP or value my stock. For doing my valuation, I need to find the cost per unit, and for finding my cost per unit, I will have to divide the cost upon the number of goods produced. But in this situation, sometimes the goods produced are fully finished and sometimes they are in WIP. So I can't divide the cost with the some unfinished goods and some WIP content. It is because of this I will need to convert my WIP content into equivalent units of finished goods. It is because of this that we have to prepare a statement of equi output. ये logic हो गया as to why we make the equi output statement. Within the equi output statement, there are either 2 methods. Either we have the Fifo method, that's the most common method, or we have to use my WAM method, that's my weighted average method. In this question, we are solving WAM, because of which I'll give a small intro of what is weighted average method. So अपना format तो same ही रहेगा. As per the format, we are going to have 1 column for particulars, we will have 1 column for units, we will have 1 column for DM, उसके अंदर percentage units, 1 column for DL, इसके अंदर percentage units, and 1 column for overheads, इसके अंदर percentage units. I'm saying that sometimes DL and overheads can be merged, but for that the DL percentage and the overhead percentage has to be same. Otherwise we'll have 2 separate columns for DL and overheads. ये अपना हो गया basic format, बराबर. Now as per my FIFO method, we have 3 rows. We have opening stock, processed further, we have started and finished, and we have the closing WIP. ये अपने 3 rows होते हैं when I do my statement as per FIFO, बराबर. Now opening stock, process further and started and finished are 2 different things, बराबर. ये दोनों सेम नहीं है. फिनिश्ड के अंदर अपना ओपनिंग WIP का पार्ट भी होता है एंड स्टार्टेड एंड फिनिश्ड का पार्ट भी होता है, बराबर. बट दीज 2 आर सेपरेट. But once I am doing a WAM, it's an average method, which means I need to have the average cost of the previous period as well as this period, which means I do not want the split of opening stock, process further and the started and finished, which means when I'm doing a statement as per WAM, I will not require the split of opening stock content and started and finished content, which means I do not need this and this ka split. What I need is only the goods which are finished. Once I take the finished goods only, they will automatically include the opening stock content as well as started and finished ka content. My job is to include everything. In the previous statement, I split them into opening stock content and started and finished content. दोनों को जोड़ देंगे तो I will get the finished content, बराबर. My finished content will include opening and started and finished both. Since I am doing average method, I don't require the split, and that is the only difference in the statement of equi output. Rather than having opening stock, process further and started and finished separately, I merge them together because I want average cost. ये अपना हो गया पहला change. बराबर. All other things will remain the same. For example, this will always be 100% because all finished goods are 100% ready and closing stock percentage depends on the completion percentage. जितना completion हुआ होगा उतना percentage ये percentage column में आ जाएगा. ये अपना हो गया the statement of equi output. All other concepts like my abnormal loss, abnormal gain, all those things will remain the same. First change, my statement will include only finished goods. They will not have the split. Now comes second change. When I find my cost per unit, मैं क्या करता हूँ? I do direct material cost from the ledger and divided by the equivalent output जो अपने को यहीं से मिलता है, बराबर टोटल करने के बाद. This was done once I am doing FIFO method, बराबर. Now since I'm doing an average method, I want the previous cost as well as the current cost upon the total finished goods. So first of all I will divide by the equi output. ये तो अपना पक्का ही हो गया, बराबर. Now the equi output contains opening as well as started and finish, right? तो अगर मेरे डिनोमिनेटर के अंदर अगर ओपनिंग कंटेंट भी बैठा हुआ है एंड फिनिश कंटेंट भी बैठा हुआ है, दैट मीन्स माय न्यूमरेटर शुड इंक्लूड द कॉस्ट ऑफ द करंट डीएम एज वेल एज द प्रीवियस पीरियड्स डीएम कॉस्ट, बिकॉज ऑफ विच आई विल डिवाइड द डायरेक्ट मटेरियल फ्रॉम द लेजर करंट कॉस्ट प्लस आई वुड डिवाइड WIP बट ओनली द डायरेक्ट मटेरियल कंटेंट, बराबर. अपने विप वैल्यूएशन में डीएम का कंटेंट होगा, डीएल का कंटेंट होगा एंड ओवरहेड्स का कंटेंट होगा. आई एम नॉट टेलिंग टेक द एंटायर WIP, मैं बोल रहा हूं तुम सिर्फ डीएम कंटेंट लो ओपनिंग WIP वैल्यूएशन के अंदर, विच मींस फॉर एग्जांपल इफ द ओपनिंग WIP इज 10,000 एंड द डीएम कंटेंट इज 3,000, सो आई विल टेक ओनली 3,000 इन द न्यूमरेटर. इससे क्या होगा? My numerator contains a cost of the opening WIP also. My numerator contains the cost of the current period also, and that is how the cost is average. It is average of the previous period's cost as well as current period's cost, and this is how I will do my valuation in case I am asked to make a statement as per VAM method. बराबर. नाउ यू विल आस्क व्हेन टू यूज वैम, व्हेन टू यूज फीफो. नॉर्मली द क्वेश्चन मेंशंस की फीफो करना है या वैम करना है. इफ द क्वेश्चन इज साइलेंट, नॉर्मली वी डू फीफो, व्हिच मींस फॉर अस टू डू वैम आई नीड टू बी स्पेसिफिकली मेंशन कि बॉस तुम वैम यूज करो. इन दिस क्वेश्चन दैट वी आर गोइंग टू सॉल्व, वैम मेथड इज स्पेसिफिकली मेंशनड, बराबर. अदर वे जब तुमको वैम करना होगा इज व्हेन तुम लोग को ओपनिंग WIP का परसेंटेज कंप्लीशन जो है वो नहीं दिया होगा. If at all my opening stock का percentage completion content is not given, then I cannot find opening stock processed further, because that is my first row with what I start when I am doing my valuation as per FIFO method. In case this percentage completion is not given, then in that case there is no option left but to do as per weighted average method. बराबर. So VAM method is to be used in two cases. One, when it is specifically mentioned, and second, when opening stock का percentage completion is not given. ठीक है, ये अपना हो गया the basics of why we do equi output and how we do equi output statement when weighted average method is specifically asked. बराबर. मैंने एग्जांपल दिया डीएम का, but I will do exactly same things for DL as well. For finding the cost of DL per unit, I will take current DL cost plus opening WIP का DL content and that upon the equi output which is this. Same for overheads. I'll take the current overheads plus the opening WIP का overheads content and the entire numerator divide by the equi output and I will get the weighted average cost of DM or overheads per unit. समझ गए? So once I do the statement of equi output as per VAM, once I do my valuation as per the VAM, then we proceed further as we normally do. ठीक है, तो चालू कर सकते हैं. I hope yes. So based on this introduction of VAM method, you guys know process costing before because we have done a couple of some of the process costing, so it should not be a problem to memorize what the chapter is. Whatever is new in this question, उसका intro अपन ने कर दिया है, that is VAM method, and other concepts will follow with the question. ठीक है. सो प्रोसेस कॉस्टिंग आपका अपना बेसिक इंट्रो हो चुका है. एटलीस्ट वॉट एवर इज रिक्वायर्ड टू सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन इज डन, विच मीन्स वी आर गुड टू स्टार्ट विद क्वेश्चन नंबर 8. ठीक है. सो क्वेश्चन नंबर 8 वी आर स्टार्टिंग प्रोसेस कॉस्टिंग. वी आर डूइंग May 19 का RTP, दैट इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 8 बेस्ड ऑन प्रोसेस कॉस्टिंग. सो लेट अस स्टार्ट प्लीज. ठीक है. The following information, let's start. The following information is available regarding a process A. So we are doing the costing for process A for the month of Feb, which means we are doing for the particular period. Sometimes the question will mention month, sometimes quarter, sometimes year, sometimes the overheads are mentioned for 12 months depending on the 12 months, that is per year, and sometimes the question asks us to do for a month, so accordingly we'll have to divide by 12 to have monthly expenses, which means while reading question वो month, year, quarter सब ध्यान में रखो and then you read the question. ठीक है. The production record is as follows. Units in process as on 1st Feb, that is 4000 opening WIP. ठीक है. All materials used, that is 100% घुस चुका है. 25% as far as labor and overhead, so 100% complete as regards DM and 25% complete as regards DL and overheads. ठीक है. New products introduced is 16000, ये अपना input हो गया. ठीक है. Units completed is 14000, ये अपना finish हो गया. These are my fully finished goods, ये ना पूरा production हो चुका है. Units in process, that's my closing WIP. ठीक है. And materials are fully input and 1/3 complete for labor and overheads. As I said, generally labor and overheads का percentage completion will generally be the same. I'm not saying it's a rule, I'm saying generally it is same. इसका भी logic है, जितना अपना hours use होगा for labor उतना ही hours generally use होगा for variable overheads. It is because of this generally the percentage is the same. ठीक है. कॉस्ट रिकॉर्ड्स WIP ऑन 1st April. ठीक है. सो 1st April WIP का आपने वो डिटेल्स दिया है, दैट इज DM का इतना 6 lakhs, DL का 1 lakh एंड ओवरहेड्स का 1 lakh. टोटल इज अपना 8 lakh rupees, which means अपना ओपनिंग WIP कंटेंट, ओपनिंग WIP टोटल इज rupees 8 lakhs एंड 8 lakhs के अंदर DM कंटेंट इज 6, DL कंटेंट इज 1 एंड ओवरहेड्स कंटेंट इज 1. They have given the valuation of WIP total and they have also given the split of 8 lakhs as 6, 1 and 1. Now cost incurred during the month, ये अपना पूरे महीने क्या cost details है. Note that 6, 1 and 1 are not incurred now. It is opening WIP, which means incurred last month and simply carried forward as brought forward. ठीक है. आगे बढ़ेंगे. कॉस्ट इनकर्ड ड्यूरिंग द मंथ इज मटेरियल्स के ऊपर 2560, लेबर के ऊपर 15 एंड ओवरहेड्स के ऊपर 15 अगेन. टोटल कॉस्ट इज 55,60,000. दिस इज माय डिटेल्स दैट विल गो इन द करंट मंथ्स प्रोसेस अकाउंट्स लेजर. दीज आर माय कॉस्ट्स एंड ऊपर का जो 6 lakhs, 1 lakh, 1 lakh है, दीज आर कॉस्ट ऑलरेडी इनकर्ड फॉर वैल्यूइंग माय ओपनिंग WIP विच इज लास्ट मंथ्स क्लोजिंग WIP. करना क्या है? Presuming important, the average method of inventory is used. Prepare the following statement. As I said, this data of कौन सा method use करना है, this will be specified to you in case we have to do VAM. If the question is silent, we have to proceed further assuming FIFO, and it is safer to write in the absence of information we are doing FIFO. यहाँ पे it is specifically mentioned average method, तो तुम FIFO अगर कर भी दोगे तो भी wrong मिलेगा for obvious reasons. Find क्या करना है? We have to find the statement of equi output, that is normal, the cost for each element, that is my CPU of DM, DL, overheads, the statement of apportionment of cost, मतलब what is the cost content of goods transferred, what is the cost content of closing WIP, and abnormal loss, abnormal gain if any, and the process cost account for process A. So basically we have to prepare everything that we usually prepare while doing process costing. बराबर. ठीक है. नाउ यू मे हैव अ क्वेश्चन कि व्हेन डू वी हैव टू प्रिपेयर द स्टेटमेंट ऑफ इक्वी आउटपुट. तुमको जब भी क्वेश्चन के अंदर WIP दिखा मतलब द स्टेटमेंट ऑलवेज कम्स, एंड वी हैव सीन दैट प्रोसेस कॉस्टिंग में जितने भी क्वेश्चन वी हैव डन, एवरी क्वेश्चन हैज WIP कंटेंट बिकॉज दैट इज अ ट्रिकी पार्ट इन द एंटायर चैप्टर. सो डू एक्सपेक्ट अ क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम प्रोसेस कॉस्टिंग एंड विद इन प्रोसेस कॉस्टिंग इक्वी आउटपुट स्टेटमेंट इन द एग्जाम. सो जनरली यू विल नॉट हैव अ प्रोसेस कॉस्टिंग सम विदाउट इक्वी आउट बिकॉज दैट इज प्योर पोस्टिंग. डेबिट साइड में अपना कॉस्ट है, क्रेडिट साइड में स्क्रैप प्रोसीड्स होगा, कॉस्ट माइनस स्क्रैप प्रोसीड्स बिकम द कॉस्ट एंड बेस्ड ऑन दैट कॉस्ट वी वैल्यू द स्टॉक एंड वेल दैट्स इट. So itna simple question is generally unexpected in the ICAI exams. ठीक है. So first things first, let us first figure out कि कोई abnormal loss, abnormal gain है क्या. So let us prepare the ledger and let us only see the units column as usual. मैं ऐसा क्यों बोलता हूँ? Because depending on the units column, if there is abnormal loss or abnormal gain, we will have to input these things in the equi output statement. It is because of this, yes, you have to always find abnormal loss or abnormal gain first. So as of now we are dealing only with the units column of the process account. Let us not focus on the rupees at least now. ठीक है. Opening WIP, what was the opening WIP? That is 4000, which is year ठीक है. So 4,000 is opening, 16 is input, then we have किधर गया, वर्क इन प्रोग्रेस कुछ है क्या, क्लोजिंग units completed is 14,000 and units in process is 6,000. So देख के समझ में आ रहा है there is no abnormal loss, abnormal gain, because 4 plus 16 is 20 and 14 plus 6 is also 20. It is tying up. So balancing figure कुछ भी नहीं है, which means there is no abnormal loss, abnormal gain. We will verify this. इनपुट अपना हो गया, नहीं अपना ओपनिंग 4,000 था, given to us in the question. We have input 16,000, we have transferred 14 because they are finished. If I am doing a process accounts and if there is an element of finished goods, obviously I will transfer them. There is no need to keep finished goods in my WIP account, and then closing will be like given to us. So this 20 and this 20 is tying up. It is because of which there is no balancing figure, and it is because of which there is no abnormal loss or abnormal gain. Had there been a balancing figure on the debit side, it would be abnormal gain. Had the balancing figure been on the credit side, then it would be abnormal loss. Abnormal loss would be a part of my statement of equi output. Abnormal gain would also be a part of my output, but वो मैं subtract करता, याद है? Hopefully yes. Which means अपने इस process account में there is no abnormal loss, abnormal gain, which means we can directly now start with the statement of equi output, and this will be important as per my average cost method. As we have discussed in the intro, that when I'm using my VAM method, the two rows are finished goods and closing WIP. I need not have a split of opening WIP processed further and started and finished separately. I just need the finished content. I don't need to bother opening content कितना है, new content कितना है. Which means the completed goods in this question is 14,000 because they are completed. As I said, the percentage will always be 100, 100 and 100. And closing WIP 6,000, ये भी अपने को दे दिया है. And the question had mentioned that it was 1/3 complete for DM and DL, and they are all materials are used, which means material content is 100% ready. The remaining content I would say 1/3. That is, I would use the same percentages. So 100% complete for materials and 1/3 for labor and 1/3 for overheads. Apply these percentages on the units, and I will get the equi output for DM, the equi output for DL, and the equi output for overheads, which will be used to do the valuation. ठीक है, तो first part done, that is equi output का statement. The next in line ये अपना हो गया first part. The next in line is second part, and the second part was अपना first part हो गया, ठीक है. The second part was showing the cost. Now since we are doing the VAM method, my cost is just not the DM cost upon the equi output. It will be DM cost plus the opening WIP का DM content and the whole upon the equi output, which we'll see now. ठीक है, cost incurred during the month, that is 25,60,000 ये अपना आएगा ledger में से. As I said, since I am doing a VAM method, I also need to add the previous period's cost. Don't do the mistake of taking the entire 8 lakhs, ये figure. Don't take 8 lakhs. My job is to take that content in the opening WIP which pertains to direct material, and that content is this 6 lakhs. So what I'll do is 6 lakhs from opening WIP material content plus cost incurred in the current month, that is 25,60,000, and the whole upon equi output. So 2560 अपना आ चुका है. To this I will add the DM content of the opening WIP, which will give us total of 3160, and this 3160 will then be divided by the equi output, which is this, that is coming here, and then I will get the DM content cost per unit. Same, I mean समझ में आ गया. Once you get this, the same logic will be applied for DL as well. What is the current month's DL cost? The current month's DL cost appears to be 15 lakh. What is the opening DL content of WIP? That appears to be this figure of 1 lakh. That content plus 1 lakh, the whole upon equi output will give you DL. Same, 1 lakh is coming from the opening WIP का DL content, 15 lakh is coming from here अपना ये वाला figure, ओके अपना ये वाला फिगर, एंड देन द इक्वी आउटपुट इज कमिंग टू 16,000 which is coming from here, and once I divide total cost upon the equi output, I'll get the DL content as well, and exactly same thing I'll do for overheads. 1 lakh is coming from opening WIP overheads content. 15 lakh is coming from the ledger, total is 16, and this I will also divide with my equi output of 16 coming from here. Okay, coming from here, and I will get the cost of overheads per unit as well. सबका addition करने के बाद I'll get the cost of one complete unit. That marks rather the end of part 2 as well. Frankly अपन normally हर सब में करते हैं. Here the question is asking that specifically because that's a part of solution. ठीक है, working note करो कि solution करो, the format and the concepts will not change. Third part, statement of apportionment of cost. Once we have found the cost per unit, it is now our job to find the cost of the goods transferred and find the cost of the closing stock. Very simple. The cost of the goods transferred is amount of number of goods transferred into the cost of one fully finished goods, and closing WIP का valuation is done exactly like the way we normally do. Closing stock का equi output content into respective CPU, I will get the closing stock valuation as well. Let us check what the ICI has done. As I said, in the value of the goods transferred, 14,000 were goods transferred and 358 is coming from this 358. That is because that's the cost of completed units, and 14,000 are fully complete. So either do the respective equi output content and into 158, 100 and 100, तुमको एक ही आंसर आने वाला है. या फिर अगर they are 100% complete, I just need to add everything and multiply with the total completed goods of 14,000. आंसर एक ही आएगा. So first part is done, that we have to value the goods transferred. Second part is my stock valuation. जितना आपका content of completion है, मतलब these figures 6,000, 2,000 and 2,000. These are my equivalent units of the closing stock content. These equi units in the closing stock content into my respective amounts of 1, 2 and 3 will give me the respective valuations. That's what exactly we have done. This 6,000, 2,000 and 2,000, they are all coming from closing stock equivalent content. Do not use total. मेरे को सिर्फ closing stock value करना है, so I will only use the equivalent units of the closing stock row. ठीक है, and respective cost is 158, 100, 100 जो ऊपर से ही मिला है, and total करने के बाद I will get the cost of my WIP as well. Add the cost of this, add the cost of this. This is my total cost of A plus B, that is goods transferred and closing WIP. ठीक है, सो अपना पार्ट नंबर 3 भी हो चुका है. लास्ट पार्ट दे मस्ट डेफिनेटली आस्क टू मेक अ प्रोसेस अकाउंट, दैट इज नथिंग बट डू ऑल माय पोस्टिंग. नंबर्स अपने पास सारे है ही, तो व्हाट आई सिंपली डू इज दिस माय इज मेक अ प्रोसेस अकाउंट एंड फिल अप ऑल द rupees content as well. As I said, 8 lakhs was given as a total. Do not take only DM, DL or overheads content. Here I am doing a process account, तो मेरा पूरा opening WIP का total value will come here. So 8 lakhs will come. All these numbers of 25, 60, 15 lakh are all given to us directly in the question. It is just a question of inputting them. This 50 lakh 12,000, this 50 lakh 12,000 and 1348 अपने इधर ही ढूंढा है, ये वाला 1. ओके, ये अपना हो गया 50 lakh 12 and 1348. All these numbers were found out, and because of this the account will tally, because the goods are transferred at cost in the absence of information. If the goods transferred were at selling price, then this figure of 50 lakh 12,000 will be more, because 5012 plus markup will be selling price. It is because of this that we'll end up having some profit as balancing figure in the process account debit side, and this represents process profit. ठीक है, सो काफी इजी क्वेश्चन था, नथिंग न्यू इन द क्वेश्चन, जस्ट दैट दिस क्वेश्चन शुड बी रिवाइज, बिकॉज जनरली यू गाइस हैव अ टेंडेंसी ऑफ रिवाइजिंग ओनली माय फीफो मेथड. वैम तुम शायद भूल सकते हो, सो वैम के कॉन्सेप्ट्स रिवाइज करने के लिए दिस कैन बी यूज्ड एज अ लास्ट डे रिवीजन क्वेश्चन. अपार्ट फ्रॉम वैम वैल्यूएशन कुछ भी नया नहीं है इस क्वेश्चन के अंदर, सो फ्रैंकली ऑल कैन स्किप. बट अगर तुमको वैम रिवाइज करना है, देन दिस क्वेश्चन कैन बी सीन और जस्ट फ्लिप थ्रू. ठीक है, सो अपना फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन हो गया फॉर द डे, दैट इज क्वेश्चन नंबर 8, एंड एनी अदर थिंग इज नॉट आस्क्ड. सो अपना फोर्थ पार्ट भी हो चुका है. ठीक है. So question 8 done. Without wasting time, we are now proceeding with question number 9. Let us see 9 क्या है. Yes, 9 is a repeat question. This question was covered in one of the previous MTPs. It was based on the concept of my cost का apportionment between the three products as per the sales value method, and we have to also allocate the cost if we are selling the goods at the point of split off and selling the goods at the final selling price, and we have to find the profits. Numbers भी same है, नाम भी same है. I don't remember कौन सा year का MTP था, but it is covered in our sessions only. So we will skip this sum as this question is a repeat question. So we will move to the next question, that is question number 10. Question number 10 I can see is on the concepts of service costing. उसके अंदर भी I can see it is probably a holiday home or a hotel. ठीक है, तो अपन इस कॉन्सेप्ट के ऊपर सम सॉल्व करेंगे. सो लेट अस हैव अ स्मॉल इंट्रो ऑफ व्हाट दिस सम इज अबाउट. सो आई हैव गिवन अ स्मॉल इंट्रो ऑफ व्हाट सर्विस सेक्टर कॉस्टिंग इज. सर्विस सेक्टर कॉस्टिंग में कोई कॉस्टिंग का फॉर्मेट नहीं है, बिकॉज एवरी सर्विस इंडस्ट्री इज गोइंग टू हैव इट्स ओन सेट ऑफ कॉस्ट्स जो कॉमन नहीं है विद अदर इंडस्ट्रीज, लाइक द वे इट इज फॉर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. बिकॉज एवरी कंपनी विच इज इनटू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग दे विल हैव डीएम कॉस्ट, डीएल कॉस्ट, फैक्ट्री ओवरहेड्स, ओपनिंग क्लोजिंग, stock valuation. So all these things being common, we are having a format for manufacturing concerns, which means there is absolutely no separate or no specific format for doing the cost sheet of service sector industries. The only thing we can do is classify the cost as per variable cost and my fixed cost. That is only for presentation purposes, nothing conceptual in that. Then I had mentioned that total cost will obviously be the summation of all the cost, but when I need to divide total cost with something, I need to have something called as a unit of service, and it is going to be different for different industries. It is going to be ton kilometers for a transport company. It can be passenger kilometers for transport company involving transporting people. It can be room days, which is going to be in this question. It can be patient days in case I'm doing it for a hospital. It can be the cost per flight if I'm doing for an airline company. बराबर, ये अपना यूनिट ऑफ सर्विस है. ठीक है. Now sometimes, like in this question, there is going to be an ordinary room, there is going to be maybe a deluxe room, or it can be a super deluxe room. I'm just giving some random name, मुझे पता नहीं क्या क्या नाम हो सकते हैं. Just sometimes the question may mention that ordinary room का rent is normal, the deluxe room का rent is twice of ordinary, and the super deluxe का rent may be thrice of ordinary, which means the rent of this will be X, this rent will be 2x, and this rent will be 3x. बराबर. Depending on this, we will convert other rooms in terms of ordinary, which means एक room अगर deluxe का जाएगा, that is as good as saying 2 rooms ordinary का जाएगा. बराबर. So when I have total cost, I cannot divide the total cost by room days of ordinary plus room days of deluxe प्लस रूम डेज ऑफ सुपर डिलक्स. क्यों? बिकॉज हर एक का रेवेन्यू अलग अलग है. It is because of this I will need to convert the deluxe rooms into equivalent ordinary rooms. I'll have to convert super deluxe into equivalent ordinary. Once I have expressed everything in terms of ordinary, I will get x. Once I get x, I will get 2x, I will get 3x, and this is how I will have 3 different prices for different rooms. If I add all the rooms together, I'll simply have x, and I can't have one common x ka rent or tariff from 3 different room categories. It is because of this purpose I will have x, 2x and 3x. That is as good as saying I'm expressing deluxe room in terms of ordinary, I'm expressing super deluxe in terms of ordinary. The revenue coming from one super deluxe room is as good as 3 ordinary rooms. So express 1 in terms of 3 so that we get x. Once we get x, we'll get 2x and we'll get 3x as well. Based on this concept of x, 2x and 3x, for example, we have the next question. So hopefully तुमको सब याद आया होगा. We have solved many questions of this type in the classroom section as well, which means we are good to go. We are good to start with question number 10 based on service sector costing. चालू करेंगे? Hopefully yes. So let's start. Question number 10, MTP May 19 service sector costing. Let's read please. A company runs a holiday home, very good. For this purpose, it has hired a building at a rent of 10 lakhs per month. So rent is given on a per month basis along with 5% of total taking. What does this mean? Rent तो अपन pay कर ही रहे. Apart from paying rent, we are also paying total takings, means revenue. उसका 5% additional भी pay कर रहे हैं, which means 5% of total takings is also our cost. ठीक है. It has 3 types of rooms as I have given in the example. One is single room, one is double room, one is triple room. So the tariff of triple room obviously has to be higher than double room. The tariff of double room has to be higher than single room. ठीक है. Going ahead, type of rooms and उसका room I mean types of rooms and उसके number of rooms. Single room has 100, double has 50 and triple has 30, and they've also given us the percentage occupancy as 100, 80 and 60. So number of rooms into number of days into the occupancy percentage will give us the total annual room days. ठीक है. आगे बढ़ेंगे. As I mentioned, the rent of double room is 2.5 times of single room. So अगर single room x है, double room बन जाएगा 2.5x. And the room and the rent of triple room is twice but of double room. बराबर. So यहाँ पे mention कर लेते. If my rent of single room is x, then my rent of double room is 2.5x. बराबर, because 2.5 times of single room बोला है. And if my rent of double room is 2.5x and the rent of triple is twice of that of double, that means double is 2.5, उसका double is 5, which means 5x becomes the rent of or tariff of my triple room. ये अपना हो गया x, ये अपना हो गया 2.5, ये अपना 5x हो गया. This is the tariff structure of single, double and triple room. We have to express 2x in terms of x and 5x in terms of x so that we'll get x, and once we get x, we'll get 2.5 and 5x as well. ठीक है. आगे बढ़ेंगे. The other expenses are as follows. You have staff salaries of 14 crore whatever. You got attendance wages, you got lighting and heat, you got repairs, you got laundry, interior decoration and sundries. ये सब मिला के अपना हो गया पूरे साल भर का cost. For the year बोला, yes. For the year बोला, yes. अभी ऊपर they have been mentioned something for the month ना. हाँ, rent important. Rent has been given on a per month basis. नीचे अपना cost annual है, तो rent मुझे convert करना पड़ेगा पूरे साल भर में, so that I get my annual rent, because other costs are annual. I can't add monthly rent to annual costs. ठीक है. Find तो बाद में आएगा. Provide profit of 20% of total taking, that is revenue का 20%. So 100 is revenue, 20 becomes the profit, 80 becomes the cost. On total taking, assuming 360 days in a year, ठीक है, and compute the rent to be charged for each type. So every type of room will have a different rent because of x, 2.5x and 5x. ठीक है. Now the only important thing in this question is the fact that one of my cost, इधर ही कर लेते चलो, that one of my cost is 5 ये क्या हो गया, one of my cost is 5% of total takings. ठीक है. Now total takings obviously means the revenue, and the revenue depends on the tariff per room day, and tariff per room day is what we are ourselves finding. बराबर. So 5% of total takings is a cost, and the cost is depending on the revenue, and the revenue itself is unknown because we are ourselves finding the tariff to be charged, which means cost depends on revenue, and revenue also depends on cost, because revenue is nothing but cost plus markup. What I'm trying to say is I cannot find the revenue unless I know all my costs, and I can't find all my costs because one of my costs depends again on revenue, which means in this case I have to solve this question with the help of an equation assuming something to be x. ठीक है. ये अपना हो गया कॉन्सेप्ट, बिकॉज एक कॉस्ट डिपेंड्स ऑन रेवेन्यू एंड रेवेन्यू इटसेल्फ डिपेंड ऑन कॉस्ट, सो वी कैन नॉट फाइंड वन बिफोर द अदर बिकॉज ए डिपेंड्स ऑन बी एंड बी डिपेंड्स ऑन ए. दैट इज व्हाई वी विल हैव टू सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन यूजिंग इक्वेशंस. इसका एग्जैक्ट क्वेश्चन अपने क्लास वर्क सेक्शन में है, सो तुमको वो रिवाइज हो जाएगा होपफुली. ठीक है. ये एक ही कॉन्सेप्ट था जो पूरे समय यूज होना है, अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट x, 2.5x एंड 5x. ठीक है. काफी सिंपल क्वेश्चन है. लेट अस गो टू हाउ द ICI हैज सॉल्व्ड. नथिंग डिफिकल्ट इन दिस क्वेश्चन. फर्स्ट थिंग्स फर्स्ट, लेट अस फर्स्ट हैव अ स्टेटमेंट ऑफ टोटल कॉस्ट. दिस इज अ वर्किंग नोट frankly, so we will do this later. As of now, let's focus on the rupees content. Now all these costs are given to us directly, so your staff salaries, your room wages, your power, your repairs, your laundry, your decoration and sundries. All these costs were given to us. Can I say this is my total cost of 25 crore 21 lakhs? Yes, but this total cost, obviously I would say total cost, but this excludes the additional rent. The rent was 10 lakhs per month, that is नीचे अपना आ चुका है यहाँ पे 10 lakhs into 12 बराबर. Now one element of cost is missing, that is 5% of taking बराबर. So 5% of taking के लिए that depends on revenue depends on cost, so that is going to be unknown बराबर. So total cost excluding the that additional cost is nothing but 26,41,040. ये अपने 25-20 ऐड किया है 1 crore 20 में, that makes it 26,41. This 26 crore 41, sorry, this 26 crore 41 lakhs is my cost excluding the additional cost, which means this plus 5% of takings. When I add these both together, I am going to get total cost. ठीक है. Now can I say 26 crore 41 lakhs plus 5% of total taking plus profit markup is going to be sales, and ये अपन इक्वेशन अज्यूम करके या लेके अपन x का वैल्यू फाइंड करेंगे. ठीक है. नाउ टेल मी सेल्स कैसे मिलेगा? Does sale depend on number of room days? I would say yes, because room days into respective tariff is my revenue. So first let us find the room days. बराबर. ठीक है. Now room days, how do you find the room days? I find the room days by number of rooms into 360 days, because mentioned was in a question, and into my occupancy percentage. So 100 rooms is number of rooms of ordinary into number of days, and into occupancy I will get number of room days. Similarly, I'll get to double room, that is 50 rooms, number of rooms, 360 days in a year, 80% occupancy, I will get total number of double room days as well. Similarly, number of rooms of triple into 360 days into occupancy of triple, I will get number of room days of triple as well, which means we have got room days of single, we have got room days of double, and we have got room days of triple. ठीक है. Now as I mentioned, I cannot add 36,000 plus 14,400 plus 6,480. क्यों? Because 36,400 is single room days and 14,400 is double room days and 6,480 is triple room days. I can't add apples to oranges, so I have to convert the double rooms into single rooms and triple rooms into single rooms, so that I get total room days in equivalent single room days number, which means, as I said, if the rent of the single room is 1, that means if the rent of single room is 1 or simple x, the rent of double becomes 2.5x and the rent of triple becomes 5x, because triple is double of double room, so 2.5 ka double becomes 5, and this number is my equivalent number of room days in single room day terms. इसका मतलब क्या है? 36,000 single room days, 14,400 double room days and 6,480 triple room days. This is as good as 104,400 single room days in layman terms. बराबर. Now what we'll do is we'll define or we'll assume the rent of or tariff of single room day to be x. That means let the tariff, ये बोला है क्या? हाँ, have they defined that? I don't think they have defined. Let us define that. Let the tariff of single room, यहाँ पे mention किया है, चलो अच्छा है. Let x be the rent of single room suite, ठीक है, which means this is my revenue 104,400 into x. Now 104 is equivalent single room days, which means we can add up everything which we have done. ये यहाँ से आ रहा है अपना ये वाला. बराबर. This we have expressed double rooms in single rooms and triple rooms also in single rooms. So 104,400 into x is my total revenue, and total revenue is equal to total cost, बराबर, total cost प्लस ये भी ये 25 कहाँ से आया? I'll just give a small note for 25. ये 25 is nothing but 20% markup for profit plus 5% of the taking. The question clearly said that my margin is 20% of sales. So if the sales is this figure 104,400x, that means ये पूरे sales का 20% is the markup, 5% is the additional cost, so this makes it 25%. That is nothing but cost plus markup plus additional cost. And solving this equation, I'll get x as 3373, this 3373 is the rent of single room because we have defined X as a tariff of single room. I'll simply do into 2.5 to get the tariff of double room. I'll simply do into 5 to get the tariff of triple room, and I will get double room tariff as this much and triple room tariff as this much, and that is how I do this question. ठीक है, here that 0.25x they haven't explained, but here they have simply given 5% plus 20%. They haven't given the split की कि क्या है. 5% is the extra cost and 20% is the margin. Both these are on the base of revenue, and the revenue is 104,400x. So ये पूरे number का, that is 104,400x का 25% is nothing but an element of profit and cost plus additional cost plus margin is equal to revenue, and revenue is 104,400x, and then take x on one side, numbers on the other, and I will get the value of x, which I had defined as the tariff of a single room, and into 2.5x for double and into 5x for triple. ठीक है, so one more question gone based on service sector. काफी easy sum है, but the only thing to revise in this question is how do I convert my double room into single room and triple room into single room using x, 2.5x and 5x. That is the concept. Other things are simple, and do not forget to add the rent of the building because वो cost अलग से दिया है. You normally tend to add up the cost in the table, and in the event you forget to add some additional cost जो table के ऊपर नीचे दिया होगा. So once you read some cost, just mark it up ताकि तुम उसको solution के time भूलने का chance कम होगा. ठीक है. So question number what is done? Question number 10 is also done. Now question number 11 is based on standard costing. And if you observe, तुमको अगर याद रहेगा तो this question is also covered in the previous MTPs where we have to find all these variances. अपन ने पूरा exact sum किया है, numbers भी same है, variances obviously same आएंगे. The question is fully same. The actual output of 1480 is also same. तो पूरा question same है, because of which we will not be doing this question, as this is also a repeat question. You can refer the respective MTP for this question, which means we are left with two more questions, that is question number 12 and question number 13, and we are going to start with question number 12. I can see this is on marginal costing. ठीक है, marginal costing के अंदर भी it is a basic CVP. Okay, so we have done a couple of sums of marginal costing. Just a quick revision of marginal costing. Marginal costing, it is a format that considers the fixed cost as period cost. They do not take any part of fixed cost as product cost like absorption costing, because of which we start from sales, subtract variable cost of sales, we get the contribution, from contribution subtract the fixed cost of the entire period, and then we get the profit. Contri upon selling price is my PV ratio. Break even point pay, we get sales that level at which the profits are zero, which eventually means the contribution equals fixed cost at my break even point. Any sales above the break-even point is my margin of safety, and the margin of safety's contribution converts into profit because of fixed cost being constant. In the entire CVP, the selling price, variable cost and fixed cost is assumed to be constant because of, and in the is assumed to be constant, and ऐसा assume नहीं करेंगे तो we cannot do a CVP analysis. बराबर, based on the basics of marginal costing of sales, your contribution, all these basics. अपना question number 12 है. So without wasting time, we can directly start with question number 12. Only one thing is new, but वो पढ़ के तुमको समझ में आ ही जाएगा, hopefully. ठीक है, so let's start with question number 12. काफी simple question है. Let's quickly finish this off. ठीक है, some company has sold 275, ये अपना sales हो गया. At 375, that means selling price हो गया. ठीक है, variable cost are 175, so SP is given, VC is given, volume is given. ठीक है, manufacturing cost is 140 and S&D is 35, so they have simply given the split of my variable cost of 175. 175 में से 140 is manufacturing, 35 is selling. ठीक है, fixed costs are incurred uniformly throughout the year, which means 12 months के लिए कितना, 1 month के लिए divide by 12. That amounts to 3 crore 50 lakhs, including debt of 1.5 crores, and there are no beginning or ending inventory. So they have given me a fixed cost का number, that's there for the entire year, and उसका 1.5 crores content is depreciation. Depre is also fixed cost. ठीक है. Compute क्या करना है? Compute the break even sales, that is normal, and also find the cash break even sales. Maybe we haven't covered a question like this, but as the name says, cash break even sales में I will only take that content of the fixed costs which are cash based, that is total fixed cost minus depreciation, and I will find the break even point for the cash fixed cost. There's nothing but कितना sales होना चाहिए to recover the cash fixed cost, and well, that is it. Concept नहीं है, it is simply a small change. ठीक है. Find the PV ratio. Obviously we will need the PV ratio before we find the break even point. Compute the number of units that must be sold to earn an EBIT of 25. We'll start reverse. Profit पता है, fixed cost add करेंगे, I'll get the contribution. We have the PV ratio, gross it up to get the sales value, and compute the sales to achieve post tax PAT of 25 lakh. 25 lakh is post tax, so what will be pre tax, and then go ulta, and the tax rate is 40%. Very simple question. No working notes to be required. At the most what we can figure out is out of 3 crore 50 lakhs of total fixed cost, I would say depre is 1.5 CR, and the balance jitna bhi aayega, those are my cash fixed costs, and well, that is it. To find the cash break even point, I will use the cash fixed cost. To find the normal break even point, I will use the total fixed cost, and well, that's it. Other things of part 2, 3 and 4 बहुत बार किया है अपन ने, so that should not be a problem at all. ठीक है. So let us start. चालू करेंगे. Details, let us first find the small details of VC, SP, Contri, ये सब अपने को काम आना ही है. So SP 375 was given, VC 175 was given. We have found the contribution per unit. Fixed cost upon Contri per unit will give me break-even point in terms of number of units, and fixed cost upon PV ratio will give the BEP number in sales value, rupees. ठीक है. Now break-even sales quantity FC upon contribution per unit. 3.5 crore is given. 200 ऊपर ही find किया है. I have got the break even point in number of units using the total fixed cost. Now cash break even point, as I said, 1 minute. Cash break even point, as I said, I will only use the cash fixed cost, and the cash fixed cost is nothing but 3.5 CR minus 1.5 CR, that is 200 lakhs. That is 2 crores. Upon the same country, I will get the BEP in terms of units. ये अपना cash fixed cost, I mean cash break even point है. I need to sell 1 lakh units to recover all my cash fixed cost. I need to sell 175,000 to recover all fixed cost, and well, that's it. PV ratio is country upon sales. Very simple. Country is known, sales is known. I get the PV ratio. Extremely simple. कितना sell करना चाहिए to earn 25 lakhs? Now the desired contribution is desired fixed cost upon desired profit margin, that is desired fixed cost plus desired profit. I'll get the desired contribution, and desired contribution upon country per unit, this will give me the answer of number of units to be sold to earn a profit of this much. If I divide the number contribution per unit के बदले PV ratio, I'll get the sales rupees, that is break even point. Very simple. ठीक है. Post tax के लिए I need a tax rate is 40%. So if I need 25 lakh post tax, मतलब 1 minus 40% corresponds to 25 lakhs, which means 25% upon 0.6 will give me the pre-tax profit required, and then you go reverse. So desired contribution is fixed cost upon desired profit. Desired profit we have just found to be this number. So fixed cost is 3 crore 50 lakh, that is given to us. 1 minute, I've used different pen. Okay, fixed cost is 3.5 crore. This is my pre-tax profit, because अपना post tax अपने को चाहिए 25, मतलब pre-tax चाहिए 41, and this I will divide by the PV ratio. PV ratio is this, यहीं से मिला हुआ, and I will get the sales value to earn a post tax return of 25 lakh. 25 lakh is post tax, which means 25 lakh corresponds to 1 minus tax rate. Tax rate is 40, which means 25 lakh corresponds to 60. What corresponds to 100? That is 25 lakhs upon 0.6. I will get the pre-tax number. Extremely simple. बराबर. One more question gone. काफी simple question था. Sums like these are very scoring. You cannot afford to make mistakes in these type of questions. ठीक है. Last question, question number 13, and once we solve question number 13, which is based on the concept of budgetary control, we will be finishing off the May 19 RTP as well. ठीक है. So let's quickly memorize or recollect what budgetary control was very quickly. We have covered before, but just a quick run through. Budgetary control is nothing but we are setting budgets for various departments, and the main objective of having budgets is to have a strict control over my finances, and this can be used later to find variances in standard costing का chapter. बराबर. Budgets का there are various types, that is my sales budget, production budget, my purchase budget, RM consumption budget, RM purchase budget, labor budget, cash budget, a COGS or a master budget. These are my types of budgets. Budgeting exercise normally starts from the sales required. Sales में से adjust करो stock levels, I'll get the production. Depending on the production, I'll get the RM consumption. Depending on the stock levels of RM, I'll get the purchase, and depending on the consumption, I can get labor hours as well. Labor hours and RPH use करोगे तो I will get the labor budget. These are the typical sums of budgets. Now budgets में एक और type of questions भी आ सकते हैं, where the question will give us an existing budget and they will give some changes in the budget and they will ask us कौन सा अच्छा है. Obviously we'll have that budget approved which has higher profits, or they will give me 2 or 3 levels and simply ask us to find the profits if some factors are changed. Always remember, in case of pen दूसरा आ चुका है unfortunately. Okay, in case of variable costs, in case of variable cost, जो भी अपना output है that has to be multiplied by VC on a per unit basis to get the variable cost at a different level. बराबर. As far as fixed cost is concerned, very important, we first find the total fixed cost by using the formula output into absorption rate. बराबर. Once we get the total fixed cost, frankly this total fixed cost is going to remain the same for different volumes as well. So do not use the absorption rate into the new volume. By doing this you will be treating the VC ulta, you will be treating the FC like VC, that is change as per the output. However, in case of FC, always find total fixed cost and then keep it same for दूसरा level of output as well, because fixed costs are period costs, they do not change depending on the output. So always find the total overheads using the normal capacity and the absorption rate. Once you get total fixed cost, this will remain the same irrespective of you changing the volume. And in case the question asks that fixed cost is going up by 10%, you add 10% to the total fixed cost. Never add 10% to absorption rate. That will be treating the fixed cost like variable cost, which is wrong. ठीक है. Based on this concept of flexible budgets, we will be doing question number 13, and this appears to be the last question in the May 19's RTP. ठीक है. So let us start last question and then we will be starting with the next RTP, obviously in the next session. ठीक है. So question number 13, last question for May 19 RTP. Let's start. ठीक है. Okay, some company has prepared the budget for upcoming year for two products A and B. So दो products के लिए अपन budgeting कर रहे हैं A and B. So both are finished goods. ठीक है. Production and sales is 6,000 and 9,000. अगर production and sales दोनों 6 and 9 है, which means there is no opening closing stock. जितना produce किया है उतना ही sell किया है. ठीक है. RM cost per unit is 60 and RM cost is 60 and 42, that is normal. Labor cost 30 and 18. Okay, sometimes labor cost may be given per hour, so labor cost per hour into number of hours taken by each unit, that will be the labor cost per unit. Rate per hour is different from cost per unit. Rate per hour into number of hours is the cost per unit. यहाँ पे tension नहीं है because both are given on a per unit basis. Same can also be for RM. They may give the consumption and they may give the rate. So FG into RM consumption into rate per kg is my cost per unit. बराबर. Hope you understood. Variable cost again is given per unit, that is 12 and 6. ठीक है. Now fixed overheads, as I was saying, fixed overheads I can see is 8 and 4. First of all, tell me, are fixed cost incurred on a per unit basis? The answer is no, because they are period cost. तो अगर तुमको question में तुमको fixed cost दिया है per unit, then this obviously means this is nothing but absorbed. They must have found the absorption rate and this is my absorption rate. Fixed cost अगर per unit दिया है, without exception this has to be the absorption. ठीक है. Selling price is also given as 120 and 78. ठीक है. After some marketing efforts, now these were the numbers original. After some marketing efforts, ठीक है, the sales quantity can be increased by 1500 and 500. By बोला है, मतलब A can become 6000 plus 1500 and B can become 9000 plus 500. ठीक है, but for this purpose, variable overheads and fixed overheads will increase by 10 and 5% respectively. As I said, these are inflation rates. I have to simply apply these rates on the costs and get the new cost, and the new volume is done, is given. We have to probably have to make a flexible budget and find the profits as per old budget and as per the new budget. ठीक है, prepare flexi budgets, as I said, before the marketing efforts, मतलब existing, मतलब ये numbers जो existing numbers है वो, and after the marketing efforts, मतलब this para is to be taken into consideration for part number B. ठीक है, as I said, budgeting is not just to find the budget for respective departments. Sometimes they may also ask us to make a flexi budget at various levels. Variable costs would keep on changing depending on the volume. That means variable costs into new volume. But as far as fixed cost is concerned, it should remain the same for both the levels. And then you have to add inflation separately. Do not add the inflation percentage on the absorption rate. In this question, do not add 5% of fixed cost increase on 8 and 4. Because 8 and 4, I'm talking about these rates, because 8 and 4 are absorption rates, so do not apply this 5% on absorption rates. Always find the gross fixed cost and then you add the inflation अलग से. ठीक है, no working notes required. Okay, at the most what I can do is I can find the fixed cost अलग से. So fixed cost is nothing but output of 6000 into 8 and 9000 into 4. When I add these two, I'm going to get total fixed cost. This is fixed cost pertaining to A, this is fixed cost pertaining to B. बराबर, ये अपना हो गया existing. Now in the absence of information, I'll assume that this 6000 and this 9000 is the normal capacity, because normal capacity into absorption rate is always the fixed costs, and I will apply the inflation percentage on these numbers for my part B. Simple. Let us see what the question has done in part A. Now in part A, do not implement anything of this paragraph because this is only for part B. ठीक है, so very simple. Output is known, RM is known, DL is known, VOH is known. Simply multiply everything and compare that with the sales. Selling price is also known. I will get the profits. So as I said, all these numbers are given to me. Sales is, output is 6000. Total is nothing but all those respective cost per units into my volume, and I should get the total profit of 60,000. Simple है, volume अपने पास है, cost अपने पास है, multiply करते रहो. All these costs are directly given to us. Volume भी अपने पास है, it is pure multiplication. I will get the profits. And same thing I will do for B as well. अपने को volume 9000 पता हुआ है. All these costs of SP, RM, DM, DL, variable overheads, absorption, all these are given to me and I will get the profits as well. We are not solving or seeing this in detail because this is pure multiplication. You guys can try it on your calcs. ठीक है, so ये अपना हो गया part 1. Nothing difficult. The only modern things is the fact that this fixed cost of 48,000 and 36,000 should remain fixed for part B unless anything is mentioned. तो अगर अपने को फिक्स कॉस्ट का इन्फ्लेशन नहीं दिया है तो पार्ट बी में विद द न्यू वॉल्यूम आई विल नॉट मल्टीप्लाई न्यू वॉल्यूम इनटू 8 एंड न्यू वॉल्यूम इनटू 4. ये मैं इसका बात कर रहा हूं 8 and 4 बिकॉज ये एब्जॉर्प्शन रेट्स. फिक्स कॉस्ट विल रिमेन द सेम irrespective of my volume levels. However, this question has inflation, so I will add the inflation percentage directly to these numbers of 48,000 and 36,000 to get my new fixed cost. ठीक है, so let us do part B. As I said, part B volume is changing. So A has become old level plus 1,500, that is 6,000 plus 15, that is 10,500, and the new level of B is 9,000 plus 500, and that is, एक मिनट मैंने शायद दूसरा मार्कर यूज कर लिया, डार्कर मार्कर. ओके, 7,500 and 9,500. 9,500 is nothing but old level plus 500 and 7,500 is nothing but old level plus 1,500. ठीक है. Now the question clearly mentioned that my variable costs are increasing by, for the purpose of variable overheads and fixed overheads will be increased by 10%, 5%. तो जो भी अपना respective variable overheads का rates थे, they will all increase by 10%. So अपना rates क्या हो गया अपना? Rates was raw material cost का, have they given DMDL? The variable overhead, अच्छा, So they haven't mentioned all the DMDL. Okay, so मैंने गलत पढ़ लिया लगता है. So RM cost will remain the same, DL cost will remain the same. Only variable overhead cost is going to increase by, okay, I think 10%. Variable overhead cost is going to increase by 10%, and DM and DL will remain the same. So that's what they must have done. So 60 has remained 60. So यहाँ भी अपना 60 है, यहाँ भी अपना 60 है, यहाँ भी अपना 42 है, यहाँ भी अपना 42 है. ठीक है, यहाँ भी 30 and 18, यहाँ भी 30 and 18. So they have clearly only increased the rates of variable overheads, not all variable overheads. ठीक है, this rate was 12, I'll add 10%. This rate was 6, I'll add 10%, that's 6.6 and 13.2. यहाँ तक कोई टेंशन नहीं है, ये अपना है easy, easy, easy. Now what I was trying to say, do not apply 10% directly on 8. So do not do 8 plus 10% and do not also do 4 plus 10%. This is a wrong approach. As I said, जो भी तुमको total overheads मिलेगा, in this case 48k and in this case 36k. I am saying तुम इस number में plus 10% करो and इस number में plus 10% करो, and this is how you get the figure of 50.4 and 37.8. The ICI has not given any working for this. We have to show it separately. That is 48,000 plus 10% is equal to 50,000. Oh, sorry, 5%. No, 48,000 plus 5% is 50,400, and 36,000 another plus 5% is equal to 37,800. As you can see, this rate of 6.72 and 3.98 is not old plus 10%. वो tie up नहीं होगा, because we always have to apply the inflation of fixed cost on the total cost and not the absorption rate, and 8 and 4 are my absorption rates, so do not apply the inflation on those rates. And well, this is how you find the new profits of 75,600 and 70,500. And this is my part B, flexible budget for a new volume. For new volume, the variable cost will remain the same, but the same variable cost will be used on the new volume because they are variable. Do not apply same principle to fixed cost. Take total fixed cost and then you simply add the inflation to total fixed cost, and this is how you solve questions of flexible budget. ठीक है, so one more RTP gone. The last question is based on theory. Theory काफी simple लग रहा है, एक बार go through करो. This should not be a problem. ठीक है, so we have covered all questions of the May 19 MTP as well. So we have finished May 18 MTP, November 18 MTP and May 19 MTP as well. In the next session we'll be starting afresh, that is nothing but November 19's MTP, 4th MTP. I hope you guys are seeing these videos and these are helping as well. ठीक है, हो गया आज का सेशन, मेरा भी दिन खत्म हो गया. I will now take a break and I will resume tomorrow. Alright, so see you guys tomorrow in the new session. Bye bye.